This week has been filled with major headlines both in the U.S. and abroad. One America's Rachel Acenas takes us through those top stories in our Week in Review.
This past week, President Trump touches down in Paris for a two-day visit. Congress gets back to work on Capitol Hill after a week off, and an American pop star gets a special honor abroad. Here's more on those stories and the week's top headlines, in case you missed it. Back to work. The week kicks off with Congress returning to Capitol Hill after a week-long recess. Also on Monday, a military plane crashes north of Jackson, Mississippi, killing all service members on board.
On board were 16 great Americans representing the United States Marine Corps and the United States Navy.
On Tuesday, a perfect record. The U.S. THAAD weapon system in Alaska goes 14 for 14, shooting down a ballistic missile launched north of Hawaii. Meanwhile, in New York City,
we're here to lay a hero to rest, but we have to remember the many ways she was a hero.
A police officer who was ambushed while sitting in her police car is laid to rest. Also that day,
big news out of Capitol Hill. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the Senate will work through the first 2 weeks of their August recess to get health care legislation passed.
And Donald Trump Jr. releases an email chain on Tuesday about a brief meeting with a Russian lawyer, which he says was for opposition research on Hillary Clinton. Meanwhile, in California, firefighters continue to battle more than a dozen wildfires throughout the state as temperatures top triple digits. Midweek, American pop singer Ariana Grande becomes an honorary citizen of Manchester. For her support and raising millions of dollars for the One Love Manchester Emergency Fund, following the deadly terror attack during her concert there back in May. Also on Wednesday,
do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Christopher Wray, President Trump's pick to replace ousted FBI Director James Comey, takes the hot seat for his hearing on Capitol Hill. And a team of 4 Americans kick off an ambitious journey to show the solidarity between Americans and Cubans. Starting a grueling 113-mile journey on foldable kayaks from Cuba to the U.S.
This is a sport that we love, and we want to test our own limits.
And back in the Big Apple, a 42-year-old man comes home on Wednesday for the first time in 21 years after serving half his life in prison for a murder he did not commit.
I'm just happy to be home, go home with my family, my loved ones, people that stuck behind me.
And the Great Red Spot. NASA releases a photo of Jupiter's iconic feature. Scientists say the spot is a huge storm, which they believe has been rotating for more than 3 centuries. On Thursday, President Trump touches down in Paris for a 2-day visit and meets with French leader Emmanuel Macron, as the First Lady Melania Trump visits with sick children at France's biggest pediatric hospital. Also that day,
former President Jimmy Carter is expected to be okay after being taken to a hospital in Canada for dehydration. The 39th president was in Winnipeg with his wife Rosalind, where they were working on a Habitat for Humanity home.
And Senate Republicans released the latest version of their health care bill, including several key changes in hopes of gaining party support. Also, after all week searching for 4 missing Pennsylvania men,
Why'd you do it?
A 20-year-old suspect confesses to the murders, while a second person of interest is taken into custody. And a Hawaii federal judge rules to loosen President Trump's travel restrictions, barring citizens from 6 countries from entering the U.S., to include additional family members. And abroad in Moscow, one of the youngest chess players in the world takes on the Russian grandmaster.
The things he says, the names of the opening moves, the combinations he uses are all well thought through.
The 4-year-old chess player losing the game, but winning the admiration of many with his skills.
Finally, on Friday, in Florida, a growing sinkhole forces residents to evacuate.
We are following breaking news right now out of Florida, where a massive sinkhole has swallowed 2 homes. It happened early this morning in a neighborhood in Land O'Lakes.
And back in France, President Trump participates in a military parade as guest of honor on the second day of his visit. During the Bastille Day ceremony on the Champs-Élysées, featuring French and American soldiers, marking 100 years since the U.S. entered World War I.
And coming up in the week ahead, President Trump is back in the U.S. and all eyes are on the Senate and its health care bill as it awaits scores on 2 versions of the bill from the CBO. For One American News, I'm Rachel Acenas.